familiar to me. All right, so let's start with the treasury report. We have $1,648.64 in the checking and $5,278.27 in the CD, which matures in July. Right. Camera update.
So we were just talking about the camera update. So here's what I found so far, and I haven't done a lot of research, but it seems as though we can get a 4-in-1 switch box, which is only about $60. Another camera like that.
We can actually use iPhones. I have a couple of old iPhones listed that you can use.
Okay.
I'm just
yeah, no. So what that would do, what we were just talking about here was we would have this one here, one there in the center, and then you'd switch it remote, A, B, whichever camera you want to show. The confusing part is still, can we get that to this computer, which then goes to YouTube Live? So the thing I'm thinking is if I get it through Amazon, it's about $250. If it doesn't work, we put it back in the box,
send it back,
get rid of it, and then try again. The next step is $500 and then there's a real sophisticated switch box where you can zoom and you can do all sorts of fancy stuff that nobody knows how to run. So I don't know if that's a great idea or not.
Well, I was just talking to Peter about it, and they would go to either a high school,
yeah,
and talk to
one of those guys, yeah,
or go to New England Tech and get one of those guys.
Yeah, that might be a great idea.
Talk to the media guys.
Yeah, that might be.
And they probably can set it all up for us, and even if we have to.
Yeah, that might. Well, I think if we just went and got the $250 switch box, another camera, the idea is we'll get the classroom working the way we want it. This, what we were just talking about, we want members here, not on YouTube Live. YouTube Live is, you're going to get a shitty view, a shitty presentation, but if you're looking for what happened at the meeting, YouTube Live would make sense, right? So, I mean, if we want to do that, we can just gamble. I can bring it in, set it all up. If it doesn't work, we'll put it back in the box.
Yeah, I was watching a couple of videos where this guy had just this one little thing.
Yeah, they got,
your
they got a remote control for this.
Does it?
Switch.
What's
So the
what's the
person-
camera? Same kind of camera, or
It would be
smaller?
another video camera, because this is all HDMI. So if we get one that's USB-C, now we got to get a different switch box. So to keep it all, I think you have to keep it all USB-C, because that's where the hiccup comes here. This camera's USB, that's HDMI, and that's where the confusion comes in.
I have an old camera you can have. It's probably USB.
Well, my next step was these new cameras are all Wi-Fi capability. So can we get rid of these wires? Like, will that go right and do it Wi-Fi? You know, maybe it won't get to the TVs. I'm not sure, but so it still needs work in progress.
Well, to want
Work in progress. Keep going.
diligence.
Yeah, keep going.
Jane, question about the CD. It's gonna come due in July. We have talked as a club about doing something about delays. Am I going to renew that CD? And if so, for how long?
Yeah.
Or should I just cash it out and put it into the account with the idea that sometime in the future we could do something with it?
It's up to Jane, but I would make a
me.
motion. I would make a motion that we pull it out, put it in the savings or checking, revisit that idea because we take July off. There's no meeting, so revisit that in September. We can always put it back into another CD or a smaller one.
Yeah,
and keep keep our
That one you get better rates on.
right.
So I also have a question as far as, I mean, since I went to Ireland, I don't know if anybody went to see Glenn Lucas, and he uses big marks.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing. It's
It is.
powerful.
Yes, it is very nice.
And I went out and bought one of his chucks.
Yeah.
Because it's different than our chucks.
Yes. No, I,
They're
all the,
comparable, the two, that truck, the one-way truck and the big model, because I have both,
You know, well,
and they're the same.
which one do you like better?
I like them both the same.
Does the one-way have a, like a lip on the inside of it?
Oh, that's,
yes,
that's a
yes,
cow.
yes, the Talon Jaws, yes. Well, those are
Oh, okay, I'm pointing
dovetails.
at the wrong place, I'm
Those,
sorry.
those, yes, we do have those, yes.
They're about the same. About the same?
Yeah.
I bought one anyways. I bought quite a few. Next meeting, I'll bring all the little gadgets that I bought to make it so you can mark where your
What?
tenant's gonna be. So you don't have to measure it out. It hooks up right to your tailstock. And you just, you're good to go. Hey, I like it. Right, demos for May, June?
So right now, we don't have a demo for May or June lined up for right now. We were waiting to see what you got back from Ireland. Are you gonna be, you know,
I never go cave that, man.
You bring back your shit later or something?
No, I, for my goals. But
So we are
I might
open.
have someone, my daughter is dating someone right now, and he turns and sells, and he turns, he also does charcuterie boards, he makes spoons and all that other stuff.
Okay.
So I said, send me some pictures of what you have, and I'll bring it up,
yeah, let me know, see what we can figure out.
because he said he'd do it.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, my trip details. I went to Ireland. I had a good time. I went 5 days with Len Lucas, nice guy. He turns bowls, that's all he does, in platters. He doesn't do all the stuff like you guys do. Interesting, which is, I learned a lot. And that's about it. Then I bought stuff. I didn't buy anything. But
He's got a very nice facility though.
Oh, it's huge. He's got 9 lathes. He's got a boom for his cameras.
Yeah.
Goes off the walls, which works out really well for him. And then his sanding system, the dust collector,
Oh, yeah,
goes through the whole place. It's pretty amazing.
It's a one-man factory. I follow him on social media and stuff, just seeing
Oh, it's
his output every
amazing.
day, just like,
amazing.
Oh yeah.
his backstock in the kiln is like,
Oh, he's got
some people's lifetime of work in a couple of
He's
weeks.
got 2 kilns. He's got one that's like a container,
Mm.
and then he built one. The thing he says, when he opens it, it's just like you gotta stand back because it just hits you. And then he has a sawmill, put a sawmill in another building. And then he just bought this big ass tractor that lifts the wood to put on his things. And he pays for his wood. If something falls, he'll go take the tractor out and ride it through the country roads, and he'll pick it up and bring it back.
And he pays for it.
And he pays
Wow.
for it. He pays for his wood. And there's only beech and birch in Ireland. There's oak too, but you don't see many trees out there. I think there's one mountain that's on the southern part. There's only one mountain that has trees on it.
Really?
All the rest of it is all grass. That all the sheep and cows and everything go on.
Wow.
Palm trees. I didn't see palm trees. I didn't get to Cork. I didn't get to kiss the Blarney Stone because they were having this big from Trump war. Gas over there is, they go by the liter, and it's 191, that's cheap, 191 euros per liter.
No.
No, it said one,
1.9.
it didn't say point though, but it cost them over $100 to fill the gas tanks. And we're talking about
It
small.
costs us $100 to
Yeah.
fill our gas.
No, but I mean, talk about the small cars.
Right.
They have small cars. You don't see too many SUVs, but they are there all the time. But it's like, they had all the they have red diesel, which is only the farmers use, and they have a 50-cent charge on additional charge on it, not including the rest of the charge, the state charges. So they blocked off all the major cities. The only thing they didn't block off was the airport. had to come home. I was like, is that good enough?
So was it worth the trip? That's what we want. I mean, was it, did you learn? Did you,
Yes, I learned. I had a good time. Made some good friends.
we know about the party app. What we want to know is,
The
did
party,
you
yeah,
learn how
we had a
to,
beer every night.
did you learn how to make bowls and platters? That's what we want to know.
Yes, I made four.
You go with that? All right.
I made five, but I didn't want to look in the sometime. All right, so do show and tell now, or do you want to have a break and do show?
I will do the show and tell because you got an extensive, yeah, you got quite a selection this one.
Okay, who would like to go first?
Just remember that
Len
this
Lucas.
is on YouTube
Lucas.
right here, this camera. So not the TV. So look here. Thank you. There you go.
At work, doing some clearing around the farm for maintenance, and just down a pretty good sized cedar and a pretty good sized birch, and I stuff that comes with it. Holly, let's say the 600 and polish that.
Nick, you're both are on the edge, right? So you might as well.
Well, I haven't been in a while, so I brought a few things. I've got a large beaded, it's a Claro walnut vase. So I think it's like 11 inches or so. But it had a cool grain. I came up with I intentionally came up with a boring shape, trying to figure out ways to make it more interesting. So with the beading on it, I think it kind of makes everything pop out a bit. Just a wipe on poly on it. It's a nice little piece. I had a piece of old growth redwood that I turned just a small hollow. I was really worried about going through it, so it's a little thicker than I'd like it, but it was such a nice piece. But I torched it and then hit it with a wire brush so you can actually just feel how old it is, which is it's pretty unique. Like that's actually got a texture to it.
So that's burnt, not what's that other steel wool? It's not that.
Oh no, that's a propane torch straight to it.
That's burnt.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Burnt and then put it back on the lathe after it was cooling up, and then turn the lathe back on with a wire brush and scrape out all the fast growth on the inside because it's so much softer. So you can actually feel it, which is really cool. And then sometime last year, I don't normally buy super expensive wood, but I had to buy a bunch of like pre-dried blanks. I had a bulk order of bottle openers for someone to make. And while I was on the site, they had this really gorgeous camphor burl. And I saw it was just a regular square block, but I saw it and I saw this when I saw the picture of it. So I ordered it and then I pulled it off. And it's the finish on this one is probably one of the better finishes I've ever done. Just a glossy lacquer, but I love this piece. Is one of the, in terms of like form and technique and everything against it, this is probably one of the better ones that I've ever pulled off. So
Is that a paint on lacquer or spray?
Spray.
Spray.
Yeah. There was another piece that I was thinking about bringing that was the trials and tribulations of lacquer. One thing that I found out with spray lacquer is that the stuff you get at Lowe's or Home Depot just sucks. Spend the extra like $15 and get them off. Lacquer, get the good stuff. And if you use brush on lacquer, in it for sure, but you're probably on a round piece, you're probably still going to get drips. So what I did after a bunch of coats of trial and error, and actually with that piece, the worst part about it was I had a few coats of lacquer on it. One night I went downstairs to put another coat, and with the min-wax stuff, a can of polyurethane and a can of lacquer without a cap on it looked very, very much the same. And I sprayed it, and I'm like, that doesn't smell like lacquer. And I looked at my hand, I was like, that was polyurethane. So I had to strip it all down. The stitcher strip, which don't use that, stained the wood really bad. So I had to go through this whole ridiculous process of scrubbing the hell out of it with denatured alcohol, lacquer, like the whole 9 yards. But once I finally got it down to the point where there were just a few drips there, you get yourself a nib remover, like for like painters. It's like a little metal file. It's very soft. You can hit it with that and then buff it out with like 600 grit sandpaper, and then use a lacquer retarder against it. So basically spray lacquer thinner. It's smoothed everything out really, really nicely without having to recoat it. So, Maybe I'll bring that one next time because now I told the story. Now I kind of have to. I have to.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
No, no. I'm from behind you. Why is next? It's just a big, older piece of maple. And I don't know if you remember Diane, she did that platted down all shape. And I got 3 of them in a row for, and I thought, oh, I can do that. And but I started with the small, because you're gonna screw up a piece of wood, go with a small piece. So I went with the small piece, and then I went with another piece, and this isn't finished yet, so I may bleach this out a little bit. And by bleaching it, that'll make all the dark colors pop a little bit more. And I can control the bleach, so I can put the bleach just where the white lines are, and that will just make it that much whiter, and then it'll pop pretty. And then this is a piece of oak growth. What this piece is. Did not like work with it. And then this is a piece of poplar. And I end up burning a nice little decoration in that. I wanted to carve that out, but because the wood didn't agree with me, I wanted it to be thick enough. There's a crack over here, and to get rid of the crack. And by the time the crack was gone, I didn't have this much. So I could still at least, burn it and make it look decorative. And then the other two is a little bit more the same.
This is what's called a salt cellar. You put it next to a stone and fill it with kosher salt, so you can sprinkle it on. So a friend of mine gave me a huge piece of maple grove. It's like that big around. So I started cutting pieces of it, practically ruined the chains, and I found out that stuff was like cutting granite. And trying to get through it, managed to get this piece, but I found out after I got it turned down a bit, full of cracks. So I was all concerned about the cracks. So I put some red mica powder and epoxy, put it in the pressure pot, fill all the cracks with red, and actually fill them up really good. So just proceeded to make this. I left a little of the red epoxy around the rim. It just was an extra touch. So I'm working on another one exactly the same now with green mica powder. So see how that goes. The cracks are bigger in the next one, so it's actually better.
But that's with
I hated cracks. Now I love cracks.
that's with the pressure pot to filter. That's in the pressure pot, though.
Yeah, I put it in a little cup and then I put it in the pressure pot. First thing I found out was the wood floats when you put it in the bison, so I had to quickly get some weight on it to keep it down. But it worked out. I learned a lot.
Okay, so here comes my 4 things. This is from my little vacation. I'm assuming this is birch.
Looks it. Look for it.
It looks like birch.
Mhm.
I'm so terrible with wood. But if you see these black marks, they look like they're it's splitting. That's actually silicone. And when you're shaving, when you're cutting thing, that will dull your blade right out. And I actually learned how to sharpen better. You know how we have the one way? He says to have at least 2 of them because the angles are different on them. So it makes it easier. Actually works. That's that one. And this one is called a Viking bowl. Beach.
Beach. Should be beach.
For the coating for all of them, he had his own wax that he made, and we were using that wax for it. I think I'd like it a little shinier.
Does he use like a walnut oil and wax? Does that sound
I
familiar?
have the recipe for it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, he did that recipe for it. But I gotta work on the other.
That's what you're gonna learn tonight.
Yes. Salad bowl.
Probably beach or jobs.
Beach too.
Beach or job, yeah.
But he had a lot of blanks there. We got to practice on some.
How many pieces did you turn while you were there? Just those 3, 5? All different?
I got one.
Oh, you got one, okay.
He explains that your things need to be extremely sharp. And this is definitely reach. I love the movement of it. And I didn't mess up with my signature. But that's a play too. This was he had a lot of blanks that he was, after he poured, he had a lot of them left over. He said, "All right, go ahead, go pick one, go play with it, whatever." And that's what we ended up doing. This one was on the outside, not inside.
And what's that?
You seem to bring along whatever I turned since last week. I've got a colleague up in Boston who had to cut down a bunch of trees on his property. They were threatening the neighbor's house. The hillside behind it. A bunch of maple. So maple ball. This one it's kind of been a crotch. So I stabilized that with CA. Kept it in there. Got some pretty. This I'm not entirely sure what it is. He said it was you. I'm not sure that it was you.
It
It's nice.
It's a nice piece of wood.
Yeah.
Could be you. I'm not sure.
I'll look at it. I turned a lot of you. I'll take a close look at
It's a little big. A lot of views to go around. But this one had a little bit of kind of spongy pith, but I was able to stabilize that too. So I think it'll be fine. But I just like the color.
Is that everybody over there?
Well, I'm going to do a little virtual.
Oh, there you go.
I'm going to do a little virtual show and tell.
There you go.
Folks on YouTube probably won't be able to see this. So you guys know I'm living in California now. I've been slowly over the last 2 or 3 years moving from here to there, and I'm back now. What I think is my last trip. So I've been cleaning out my workshop. I brought some stuff in. You're welcome to it. I have some more stuff at my house. If anyone, I have a little Nova Comet lathe that if you want it, you can come and get it. It's yours for free. It's on a stand motor. It has a bed extension. It's a decent lathe for turning spindles for boats. I also have some sheets of pre-finished cherry plywood. I made some stuff out of it, but I have 2 or 3 sheets more. So if you'd like to stop by and pick them up, that's fine. So 2 years ago, I went to the Turner's meeting out in San Luis Obispo. And I started to talk. I said, I'm here I live in Providence, Rhode Island. And the president of the club jumped up. I might have told you this before. Jumped up and said, "Shut up! I'm from Providence." So this fellow, George Pays, had moved out to Nipomo, which is a little town near San Luis Obispo, in the 1960s. And among other things, he started the turning club there and was instrumental in building it up. He died this last September, but he always liked to go to the AAW meetings. He went to the AAW meeting here in Providence back in 2002, and he left this shirt for me, so I'm wearing it in the morning. At this club, we meet in the Oddfellows Hall, and there aren't facilities for doing demonstrations there. So instead of demonstrations, every month we have a challenge project. I don't know if you've ever thought about that for this club. People bring in their challenge project, and we have that in addition to show and tell. A couple months ago, one of the challenge projects was to turn something that I had never done before, a 3-cornered bowl. I had a piece of redwood burl, I cut it into a nice cube, and then I went on YouTube and found Rick's video of how he turned this three-corner bowl, and I think it came out really nicely. Unfortunately, I showed it to someone, and she said, "That's really nice. Thank you." So I don't know. What do you do in those circumstances? I guess there's not much you can do. But I thought it turned out really well. So thank you for that. So I just wanted to say one more thing, guys. Some of you might belong to AAW and get the AAW magazine. I don't know if you saw the back cover. The latest edition. So these are guys that are in the Turning Club in St. Louis. So they do some pretty nice work out there. There's some people that I consider to be real artists. So I'm just looking forward to seeing Rick and Roland and Paul,
On the back cover of that.
Future.
Yeah, maybe Roland. Maybe Roland. Don't wait for my picture on there.
So I was going to bring this in real life to show it to Rick, see how well I had followed his instructions. But
And somebody grabbed that.
thank you. That's so nice.
That's funny.
For what it's worth,
Right.
way back when we were in East Greenwich, we had Mark Ledger, a Virginia school teacher, come in, and he did three-cornered boxes. So, and then he did it in one of the old Connecticut shows. When they went to Rose, Connecticut, we physically, our club was one of the sponsors, and he did one there.
Yeah.
And then I took a class with him the next weekend, and I did one myself. Once
It's a
you get
fun
the knack of
project.
it, you're fine.
Fun.
But it's just an eighth of an inch off, and you're all done.
You gotta start
careful
square.
at those points.
Projects, you've got to be perfect all the way along. And he was talking, having a cigarette, doing it as
Yeah.
long. But we actually had him do it. Like one of his demonstrations when he was here for Adam.
So I think that's a pretty good idea,
Challenge.
a challenge.
All right, you go first.
What?
Bring in your challenge and we'll figure it out.
Okay, my next one, I'll bring in a challenge. That's it.
So everybody does the same
Same thing.
challenge,
Right.
right? So a bunch of people, not everybody does them every meeting, but there were about 6 or 7 three-corner bowls. There was I'll show you some pictures of some others. Oh, I wanted to say one more thing. So I volunteered to do the newsletter out. And one of the things that I got to, I think, enhance the newsletter, I went on Amazon, and if you're looking to spend some of your hard-earned club money, I spent about $170 and got a light box. It folds down into a little kind of briefcase size device, but then you open it up and unfold it. It has tabs that lock together magnetically, and it's so it's about this high and this deep. Has some built-in lights and put a background in. You can see, maybe you can see in this picture, I just have a black background here. And I keep knocking that damn thing over. But it takes really, really nice pictures.
I have a small one, a tiny one.
Yeah.
Not good enough here.
So something you might think about, just bring it in, you could leave it in here, takes a minute, maybe 90 seconds to set it up, and the pictures that you can get out of it are just so much better than what you can get on
High quality.
Yeah, really high quality. And these are just, I'm just taking photos with my phone. And it's just, with the backdrop and the lighting, they just come out really good.
Food for thought. Okay.
That it's more than.
Yeah.
that.
I'm working on that.
And I will write the recipe for the wax.
Send it to me and I'll, put it in the newsletter. I'll put it in the next newsletter. Send me the recipe.
The way they have it makes 10 large tubs of Glenn Lucas wax.
All right, so we'll have enough for
I don't
everybody.
need that in.
So we'll have enough for everybody. Can you break it down into something more understandable or no? Like, do you have ounces?
Everything's in millimeters.
Yeah, all right. We can convert that. Yeah. All right.
The way he does things is a little weird.
It's Ireland.
Ireland, yeah. But great time.
Cool.
I just went into the demo.
Roland, are you set or do you need some time? Does anybody need a break if you want to take a break before he starts? Then we'll get right on it. So, while I'm checking,
I wanted to take it relax, but I don't like it. So I did really good travel, and it's the United States in the back of the van. And I didn't go as far as photography, I went personally.
yeah.
But I'm like, what is our
You know, so we're using the two televisions, but we also want to get out there. But even if we don't make the lead, just get the two TV. Getting the people that are down.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Everybody else.
Somebody that's coming here, yes.
Yeah, you want to join them.
Well, what's the diameter of this guy?
You want to watch a shitty YouTube video. Right?
I heard talk to Rick.
Yeah, right.
I'm curious though, you mentioned wood bleach. What do you use for wood bleach?
Easy, I think, or something like that. It's the first one on Google. Amazon. Oh shit. My wife and I use that first one. It comes in so one to one, so not one to one. You put one on, and let it sit for 5 minutes, and then you.
I'm thinking about using it for a project, but there's so many others.
Yeah,
I've
that's
never
the
heard
one.
of something before.
Yeah, I kind of like that. And now it's, okay,
which is very nice.
70.
But again, I would say in town, whether it's Joyce's,
Okay,
and that's the part that I spent most of my time.
okay.
As soon as the last was over, the guy didn't realize stuff in town. I would get him out there. And then he'd come in and he's go back to the house and he'd come back. And so but there's no restaurants open during the week, so everything is.
There's 3 doubles.
Choices and stuff like
That's just to drive someone to drink, or
Okay.
can you see the 3 of them? I can. Yep.
Unless you drive, you driving around in the car.
We haven't played that far.
That is 3 inch, or is it a little smaller?
Half inch.
Is it a half inch? Really?
Yes, it says it.
Okay. This is, maybe it's just deep fluted?
Yeah.
You can handle.
It's a bulldog. And that's 3 inch.
Yeah. That's just some of that. Yeah.
So that was my biggest problem, was getting, I got.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's the way mine looks.
And then.
I always wondered if I was just making it too
And I.
pointy, if you will.
I'm like,
Because I have one that I tried to make it not so pointy, and then I have one that.
I have one like that too, but I use
Not so
that
pointy.
for tennis. That's all I use that for.
For just getting the tennis.
Yeah.
And I can do the dovetail thing with this or this flat. Yeah. But I've been doing this with the 3 bevels, it just makes it nicer. Okay. So that way, when I'm writing the bevel, it's only that top one. Right. And before I sharpen it, I always use the magic marker on it. Every time I sharpen it, of course, the top bevel. Right. Just so I make sure there was like a little chunk that got knocked out. Right. So that way I know I got a nice clean cut. Cool.
Well, he's in front as.
All right, we'll get you on the lathe as best I can. My son gave me a camera and I forgot to bring it. It's like a little bit round. It's just a round camera, but it'll follow you all by itself.
We got one of them each. At least we had one.
Yeah, I forgot to. I wanted to try it and see what it does. Like it won't go fast, but if you go a little bit, it'll go a little bit. You know, if you turn around, no, it's not going to see you. But if you make a sudden move a little bit, it'll follow you. Yeah. I forgot to bring it. Of course I did. That looks pretty good though. That looks like it's going to be right on. So.
So I got this one.
Hey, where's my cup? My cup.
Back to back.
You didn't get it? Oh, Ross took it off. Your coffee cup?
Ross has it?
Paul?
Oh, no, they're probably having it for breakfast. They probably got tea.
That's a Christmas party. They brought it home.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I keep looking at my camera.
No, I said, this one's Roland. Probably kept it.
Yeah.
I have one that I glued back together. Do you want that one? No, I think Ross took it home.
Okay.
Oh, well, one of them. Like, hey, where's my coffee cup? You paid $50 for it.
This is paper maple. Are you familiar with that one?
Paper maple?
Yeah.
No, paper birch.
Paper, no, it's paper box. Maple. That's what these are.
I never heard of it.
It's a shrub. It's not a giant tree. So that's pretty much as big as that tree gets in diameter. But I already took a lot of the bark off because I didn't want it to fly.
Not paper birch.
No, it's maple. Google paper bark. Maple.
Oh, okay, so maybe they're very
That's
I
all.
saw the boat about 2 years ago. I used to go there. So they kind of bring anything, something like that, gravy or something. Oh, maybe, no, that was the movie on top. We had a couple of lot of it. You can do it. You look at the boat guy, right?
That comes from both facing you.
Okay, on the other side, okay.
Everybody?
Yeah, I was in Dutch Harbor. You're a guy who's very fun. But only the, I think his name is.
Oh, I had a long ass day.
Can't go very deep, that's for sure.
Well, you don't want to.
No,
I didn't go too much.
But still.
Barely take a look.
Wait, you came home today?
And hurry up. Got a call that I didn't want to get.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Hurry up. Back her up.
Oh.
Yeah, me too.
It rained like hell last night. Everything was
Oh, yeah, it kept me up all night. The thunder, lightning.
everything was saturated. I was like, sorry, we gotta go.
Yep.
We were out of there in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Can we start now?
All right, are we ready? Everybody ready?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we're gonna start now. And what I'm gonna start is telling you how I mount this. I never go with that screw chuck. I don't like that. Because I can't control it. When I go between centers, I got this little red dot, and I can spin it, and I can make sure everything is lined up. So I like to make sure my center is where it belongs. And if it's where it belongs, then I don't know if you can see it. You can't see it with these here. Oh, this one you can see it. You know, you can see that winds up in the bottom. That little, because you took the time to line it up. If I just put it on a screw truck, then that whatever comes out is going to be that. So it gives me a little bit of choice as to what I'm going to do. And this is what I'm going to show you how to do. And I think you can see how that shines through. So it's pretty thin. Leave that light because it blinds me.
So that's a laser pointer.
Yes, the red dot. Yes, a laser pointer. But I use that for all my work. The big stuff, small stuff. I'll move this around sometimes 2-3 times. In fact, sometimes I'll turn it and say, "Oh, I'd rather have it the other way." I'll just dismount it and turn it around and start in the other direction, just so I get the grains the way I want. And, you know, I might start here and find out, oh, I got some shit over here that ain't going to work. So I'll just put that over there. But that's how I do that.
And what's that center? So it's not a screw center.
Well, that's a
he's
cup
on,
center.
he's on the safe
The
center.
cup center.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that cup. The
safe
safe one. So if it catches, it will spin. And I got a feeling though, if it catches, the lathe will stop because it's a safety lathe. So
Hey, call Woodcraft.
But
It's gonna make us safe from the operator. It's tough.
and I always spin my work before. I don't always spin it, but sometimes if I don't spin it, it goes boom boom because I should have spun it. And if you don't, then you'll find out, oh shit. But and anyway, so that's how I do that. And I already put this at home. You know, I never even cut these on the bandsaw. I'll put them just as a square piece here, and then it's easier for me just to turn it versus messing with my bandsaw blade. Because I shop and the bandsaw blade, they're expensive. I just bought 3 of them. That's cool shit. But that's life. If you want a big bandsaw, you're going to pay a lot of money for a bandsaw blade. This is a spindle gouge, and that's how I'm going to turn that. I'm just going to. I ran the speed up till the lace started at the bottom and then I backed it down a little bit. At home, I can make this spin a lot faster with this little piece of wood. That's better. what I'm doing is I'm just riding that bevel. And once I get that cup, I'm pretty much pushing against the bevel. And so the bevel is what's controlling my cup. So I can just push it and just ride it up like that. That's the size of my pen for the cup. If you want this part to be shallower than this, this should be higher. So that way, when I put my chuck on, when it goes onto my chuck, I want it to touch the outside part of the jaw, not the inside part. And because it's on the outside, that'll give you the most stability.
You want that off, Roland?
Yeah, no, not yet. And when you knock these out, make sure you put your hand over here. Try not to knock them out like that and catch them this way. Because if you catch them that way, it hurts. So you don't want to do that. And I use that off, but I forgot that sauce, so we're not going to cut it off. I like to, and then I'll push this back on, so I'll off that center, but I don't have this nub. You know, so once the bowl is sitting around, I don't have that nub, and that's when you'll see like that, because I cut it off. I'd rather have it off, that way I can always sit it and do what it wants. But we're not doing that today.
You want it soft?
No, because it's too late now. And I like to put 3 bevels. You probably can't see it now, but when I'm done, come and check it out. There's 3 bevels here. I get rid of the bottom one, then I get rid of the middle, and then I'm only cutting on that top bevel. So some people, if I got that small, it would be called a micro bevel. Because the less I have touching the wood, the less chance I have to mar. And as long as I'm writing on the bevel, that's all that matters. So you don't need that whole bevel. You can, like I said, this is probably all. And every time I sharpen this, I put a marker on it. I always put it black every time, even though I'm using the same jig. But if by putting that marker on it, it's black, I can tell if there's a little chip that happened, because sometimes your tool will chip. But I can always tell what's going on as long as I got that black magic marker on it. So every time no matter what tool it is, I'll do that.
So how do you grind off the heel? Are you using the jig?
Um,
Very grind?
I have the cowboy from Vermont. He makes the hats.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what? I forgot his name.
Johan.
Han something, blah blah blah. Right. I bought his
Okay.
platform. So
Yeah.
his platform is almost the same as the one way, except he's got a V plate. He's got 3 holes and then 3 holes going down the center. So what I end up doing is a left hole, right hole. I end up cutting both sides, and the center hole, I'll just round off the nose a little bit so I don't wind up with that sharp point. And then I go into the next hole forward. That cuts that bevel, and then I go to the next one. And then if I'm cutting the big one, I'll just go and get rid of that big piece by hand. It's easier.
So the Ron Brown jig that I brought in, I think the last month or the month before, he has a magnetic block. It's shaped with 4 different thicknesses
Yeah.
and a magnet,
Yeah.
and it sits right in
Sits
here.
the-
So
Yeah, you could just stick a super
Yeah,
magnet
right.
or 2
But you
or
would
3.
2 or
Yeah.
3 different
Yeah.
setups.
You right.
Keep moving forward, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all you do is moving forward so you get another nice cut. Okay. Good. I don't know which way to start on this one. Okay, that's a nice surface already, and that's just by riding that bevel. What makes it easy. And that's pretty much the shape of the bowl. If I were home, I'd probably go smaller here, because I like that little, something like this, that little foot makes it nicer. But because of here, trying to get some pine. And I also use I'll do that just for fun. I don't have a negative grind scraper. What I do is I'll lift this up. This does not need to be scraped. That's a nice finish already. But just to show you what I do with it, I'll take this and I'll lift it sideways like so, and then I'll do, basically it's a shear cut. And all I'm going to do is just take off just a little bit. And by lifting this handle up a little bit, that gives it the negative rate. Because the negative rate is basically the same thing. What you do is you don't want to be like this, because if you're like this and you get it touched, this will jam into, it'll sucker right in. But if you're up like this and you get it touched, then it just falls off the wood. basically just go like so, and just hit it. And that's what I cut off. Good. And I believe Rick already showed you how to sharpen.
Huh?
He showed you how to, I believe.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so I won't tell you how I do it. But it's kind of like the way he told you, though.
You're talking about with the,
Yeah,
with the burnish.
yeah, burn it, and then take the roll.
Right.
All right. And I hadn't turned, because I've been sick, so I haven't been turning. And what I ended up doing, instead of trying to make big stuff, I made a whole bunch of little bowls, little candy dishes, little things. It was just easier to get that muscle memory back, because it goes right away in the whole brain. What am I even supposed to do with this stupid thing? So I had to teach myself all over again. And this, what I'm showing you how to do, is a great way for tool control. Because if you don't have any tool control, you go right through the wall. It's just that simple. So it forces you to do that. And I have a sliding headstock on mine, but it's always been over here, and I always left it there, and I was used to it. But because I hadn't turned it so long, I started to do this stretch, kind of try to get over like this. I pull those middle muscles in my back. Oh God, did that hurt so bad? And guess what? The first thought I have is, oh, the cancer's here again, because that's what happens when you get cancer. No matter what, cancer's back. But the doctor said, no, you just pull muscles. And whatever you do, keep doing, but do a little less at a time. And that's when I said, well, I just push this over. Because look at how hot it is. It's not hot at all. Here we go. So I just push that up like so. Good. Mine's a little harder because I got a big 3-horse motor and the head is big and it's heavy as hell. So it's still harder to push it, but it works. And I brought my own light because I wanted to be able to see what's going on in there. And right now I can see light through that. More like a Tom. What will happen? Can you see that now? Yeah. So as I get thinner, that color will change. And my plan is, as long as that, whatever color, if I choose that color, or that, then as long as I stick with that, I don't even have to measure because my wood thickness is going to be the same throughout. So I just pay attention to what's going on with that. So when I'm turning over here, I'm looking over there. Now I got a yellowish color. So actually it's the same thickness. Whatever that might be, I'm not sure. It's just a little over an inch, but we can make it smaller, thinner. And it's the color we got going on. And I only go in a little bit at a time. So I always work my way in because this one is going to start walking. And so once I start my next step, I don't come back out here. But right now that image was a little bit thicker. And by watching that color move, I can tell when to stop before I run into that solid piece of wood. Because if I go right into that, that's going to catch. So I want to stop just before I get to that stuff there. And so that's where we're at right now. So, now, we're pretty close to 1/16 right now. So we're going to live with that. And because I brought this headstock out, I can swing my body. If I'm still over there, I would be doing this. And if you're doing this, you don't have the same control as if you've got it tucked against your body like so. And then I just pick up that bevel, and I just push that bevel in. And by pushing that in, it pretty much goes, it follows its own path. And this is getting a little bit dull. It would, I could keep cutting all that heavy cut if I wanted to with this, it cuts fine. But once you get over here, you want it to be nice and sharp, so it'll, you don't have to push it as much. And then these are all 1/2 inch that I'm using. In fact, that's pretty much all, I still got a lot of 5/8, and that used to be all I ever used was the 5/8. But then I found out I can get such a nice cut with this because it's you got less metal, you got more control over that less metal. It just makes it easier. Except when I'm doing something big, then I'll grab that big guy and I'll have giant stuff flying over here. But for doing a little finesse work like this, you're gonna start a little bit above. You can see that.
Yeah.
You can. All right, so I'm starting a little bit above that next piece of what I'm going to remove because that was still high. When I went in there with that, I could see that it was still a little high. So if I just bring this and touch that bevel just before that, and I know right there, there's the bevel, I caught it. Now I just throw it in there. Now I know that this part is heavy. Because of the shade, let's say that. I keep saying color, shade. I'm looking for that word since I started talking about the color. It's not color, it's the shade. But it's hard to find that. So now I'm going to, right now I'm coming back. I'm going to catch that bevel. Well, the reason I like this here, I have 2 of these. I just want to get a lot. But Fred Jones goes in my brain. My brain said, "Oh, get the black one. You like that better." And so that way. Again, I'm just going to come back out here, find that bevel. Oh, shut the machine off. When you're at home, you used to see your own machine. Yeah, I'm afraid everything will do it. So it's good. That should be still, of course. Still a little out here. club I belong to in Nashville, CU, they have the President's Challenge once a month. And usually it's the person who did that demo, the challenge was, that's why I got so many platters, because the challenge was go home and make a platter, because you just watched the demo. So I got, the next day I would make, because I was trying, I don't want to lose that. So, you can see how you gotta have a certain amount of team control to do this. Just want to pick up that bevel. And if you check it out there, you can see almost nothing. But if you want it to be consistent, then you gotta keep doing a little bit, a little bit. And get close to the bottom. And I just put this between my drawers. So basically, it'll just go between that drawer, and it'll give me an idea how much wood I've got down there. And a little better than a half inch. This is so skinny. And normally, I'll leave a half inch on the bottom. Whenever I'm, whatever it is I'm turning, I always like to leave that half inch, so that way when it walks, I've got some wood underneath there that I can still clean out and straighten it all up. But because this is so thin, you really don't need that. And the other thing is, if you run out of wood, you can take the tenon and use the tenon as a foot, because that's what that. Because you do the math, you say, okay, there's no wood anymore. Like it or not, it won't be any wood. So it's, well, I can just leave the tenon in, dress that up a little bit, and that's why that looks like that. So I basically remounted it and straightened it out a little bit. So, the hard part is this transition right here, because you just want to keep going straight through there, and if you do, then run out of wood. But as long as you're watching the color, but then the color, even when you get down here, that the shade changes because you got that solid wood. And I know all that because I did it the wrong way, more than once. It's funny, I'm putting the weight on the outside of the bowl and I'm working on the inside. really want to be able to watch that chase scene. Where I want to be at the bottom. I heard a snap. I wasn't sure if it would be a crack.
I heard it too.
Really?
Yeah.
No, but it's not. I don't see a crack, so you have to say something. What I'll do now is I'll take that. Yeah.
Probably don't want to sand that with 80 grit.
What's that?
You probably don't want to sand that with 80 grit.
Actually, I'll start with 20, depending, like this is already nice. So this is like a 220, and that's all I need. And then right now I just want to even out my bottom and get the bottom of my bowl flared up into the side. And I'll do that with the scraper. And I'll do that with that shear cut. So I'll spin it up on its side. And I'll pick the center. I'll get rid of that little nub there. All right. If I were home, I would think, no, I wouldn't do anything. I would say, wow, what a good job you did. That's what I would do. And, but that's pretty much how I do it. And again, what's nice about this is it forces you. It will let you know if you don't have any tool control in mind. And so it's immediate because it will go right down through here. And you want that same. You know, even though this is wet, I could still sand it somewhat, but I'm not going to bother.
But you can't come back tomorrow, because then the ball must be warm, so you can't.
Oh, yeah, the bowl's gonna be like this.
Right.
Well, I can see in that.
No, but you can't get
Oh,
close
this-
with the cutting tool.
Oh, not with the cutting tool. No, I'm all done.
So you have an hour to finish it. When does it start to move? Will the ball
Okay,
twist a little tonight?
if this was a bigger bowl and I was trying to make that bigger bowl, and I went this far, and it's okay, I'll come back and after supper and finish it. You can't do that. You know, if you're doing something this thin, you have to have that time you're gonna go from here to the bottom. Because this is already moving out here. And-
So within an hour.
Probably less than an
Yeah,
hour, right?
Yeah, because, you know, this is 10 minutes, this is moving after 10 minutes. So as soon as I get to here,
No, but you showed us that you go back and start from the outside and work in and feel where the edge was, and that must.
Right, yeah,
how to-
right, so I'll cut from here to here, and then the next up, I'll come back a little bit, and then I'll go and work it back in some more.
Mhm.
And then what I'm going to, so that wall's done, and now what I'll do is I'll come back up a little bit and catch the bevel again, and then work it down. So I'll step myself down, and I'll make sure my bevel is at the finished dimension I'm looking for. And so as long as that bevel's on that finish, then I can just keep going that way.
But I think what he's trying to say is, after 10 or 15 minutes, there's no more putting the tool to that.
Yeah.
It's not even, it's nowhere near an hour, it's probably much
And
less.
the idea is you want to make sure that it's the same shape. And you can see how it's not stepping. If it were different thicknesses, I would have different shapes. And that's pretty much really good. And right here at the bottom, that's right, pretty much right here. And that's where the bottom, and you know, there are some. I left my home. Too bad. Well, when I first started to do these, I kept going. I would follow that wall and go straight, and then I'd have it really thin right here. So this would be nice, and then it goes super thin because it's hard to tell my brain. You got to make a turn, and if you don't make the turn, you're gonna go through the side. It's guaranteed you go through the side. But I didn't go through, but it got really thin. And that's when I paid attention. So I learned to pay attention when you get down here. That transition from that wall to the inside part of the wall. And then looking at this now, it looks pretty good, but I still would have used a round scraper, just a nice little carbide round scraper, and just catch that right in here, and that would be nice. And then if you feel this, you won't feel any lumps. If you feel this, you will. Because this I did at home, just practicing, and so I didn't care. But here, you guys are watching me, so I care. I want to make sure. Well, you can see that's a nice flat surface all the way through, and then this is what happens if you've got the shapes.
So what do you use these fragile balls?
Well, they're not that bad. No, Richard Rath.
No, it's too cracky.
Oh, no, once it's dry, in fact, it won't even crack now. There's no stress. You know, so thin, and then it'll be dry in the morning. I can put a finish on it in the morning because it dries that fast, because it's so thin. Plus, there's no stress on it, and that's why it won't crack. And then once I put the finish on it, you know, these two are both finished, and you can use these for little dishes, little candy dishes, whatever. They're usable bowls. They're strong like that. You can still move that wet one, but that gets to be again strong. It's relative term. Like I know I can snap this in half, not because I'm really strong, only because it can be done. But it just makes for a nice finish. And then you get this. I want to show you guys. I almost forgot to show you guys. You can tell this is what it feels like when it's finished. That's a nice finish.
What are you putting on there for a finish? Just oil?
Yeah, that what's his name? The good stuff.
good stuff. Yeah, and it's good stuff.
What stuff?
No.
That's the next question.
Even though this ball is already warped, I can still mount it and take this tenon off. And that's what I'm going to show you how I do that now. I also do, what I'm going to do now, I'll do with a bow this big. I'll do with that flash.
You need to take
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I have this somewhat dense piece of rubber. And so because this bottom isn't flat, you know, so if I just push it like this, it will wobble. But by pushing it against this dense piece of rubber, what will happen is it takes up that slot, and so it won't wobble. So I'll end up just pushing that like so, and that's my center. I always leave my center hole there, so I always know what's going to happen here. And then I'll just sew it. So. You don't want to go too tight because it's really thin at the bottom. And then you can push it through. But you just want to be tight enough so it won't be wobbling. Now you can see this pole up here is wobbling all over the place, but my tenon that part doesn't matter. What I'm going to do is I just come over here. I don't think I'm going to go through the bottom. I think I'm going to. But if I do go through the bottom, it's going to go off. But you always want this to touch the table. You don't want it to be a crown. You want it to be recessed. You always want that so the outside part of the bowl. Because this is kind of warped right now, and there's enough wood there, what I can do, you can hear it. Up, 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 up. And on my outside ring, you're not hearing that. And just to make sure, I'm just putting a light underneath it, so I don't have to take any more. And then what I would do with my saw at home, I have a nice little flexible saw. I would cut this little nub off here. And then I take the polish in and just sit it down. Just, I also put a little decoration. Sometimes I do that. You see any decorations here? Over there you will. I put some nice little lines in it, just so that you look it up. So if somebody's going to look and flip it over, they're going to see something more than the bottom of the bowl. So that's how I do this, and I recommend if you just, even if you're not just starting out, just do this, because again, you can see the concentration I have to have to be able to find that bevel and find the thickness and walk it down through without having a bunch of lumps in there. Kind of like the one that I showed you. Actually, you can actually see the different shades that goes through here. And that's because, well, one, I didn't care. I was just trying to remember how to do this so I didn't stand here and say, oh, shit, all the time. And I just wanted to make sure that when I got here, I had the right, this thing was working right. But that's how I do this. Okay?
Is there one species that's more forgiving than others? Hopefully, wood,
Wood?
yeah,
Well, this is,
maple as good as,
yeah, well, this is called paper. As long as it's green. This is wet.
Yeah.
So actually, I can actually feel the water coming out of this. So when I was turning it, I knew it was green. And so you do this with green wood, not dried wood. Dried wood will go a little thicker. And then you can see a couple of those punky pieces that I had over there. I actually go even thicker because it's just a punky that you have to have a little more wood there. Yeah. Okay.